Okay, just so you can see it, here's my suspend data. 20 win streak, 25 continues, which means I've got a perfect win record so far. And yeah, if I continue, this save data will be deleted, but it will be replaced by further save data when I get further in. So anyway, Area 3, let's do this. World beaters. I'm kind of imagining them, like, whacking planets with a stick or something like that. I mean, at least they're not world eaters, then, well, I mean, yeah, that would be kind of terrifying. And I'm going with the tried and true combination once again, because this battle looks exceptionally easy, like most of the rest at this point. Like battle mode, well, like story mode Mount Battle, I mean, I'm not fully sure exactly when this starts getting difficult. I know that story mode Mount Battle didn't start getting particularly difficult until Area 5 or 6, so I'm not really sure exactly how it'll go here. Well, you came out at the perfect time. Your world is about to get beaten with water. Lots and lots of water. That was a weird line, but I guess I'll have to go with it. Jigglypuff still has a huge amount of HP, but it also doesn't have very much in the way of defenses, much like its evolution. Well, another quick surf will get rid of you. Well, no damage for this fight. At least Rollout gets to be... Well, I mean, I don't know. Rollout's not particularly an amazing move, but it can be a fun move sometimes, and I know that a lot of people have nightmares about Whitney using Rollout. Yeah, if I do get around to doing a no-experience run of Heart Gold someday, I wonder how I'm going to take on Whitney. Like, maybe the Machop trade that you get in the city could work. That Phanpy is definitely one-shotted. Yes, it is good. Still, it's kind of depressing, though. But, yeah. I mean, Garza will get destroyed by Rollout, or Scrappy. Anyway, let's move on, and remember to select no here. And we've got that's a hunter, isn't it? Okay, she has a few Pokemon weak to water, and a few not so weak to water. But what I'm interested in is her Smeargle. Yes, she does have a... Well, she didn't lead with it, but she does have a Smeargle. And I'm wondering what kind of moveset it uses. Considering it's this early, it's probably not that amazing, but... I don't know. I know there is someone in the battle mode who uses Lock-On Sheer Cold or Mind Reader Sheer Cold or whatever, but he does use one of those combinations. Yeah, that's the one at KO Spam trainer. Unfortunately, that... Well, not literally the same guy, but a trainer like that exists in XD. In Aura Colosseum, which I'm definitely looking forward to getting to. I'd probably have to, like, actually EV train up some Pokemon from my GBA games. Probably Emerald to do that, though. Which would mean I need to dust off my old GameCube, because the GameCube to GBA link cable only works on the GameCube, apparently, not the Wii. Not really sure why. Don't hit Suicune, please! Thank you. Yeah, I would have to do that. I've never actually finished all of Aura Colosseum in XD, but from what I've heard, the last battle of it is considered one of the hardest fights in the entire series. And there are a lot of pretty tough battles throughout the whole thing. It's kind of a shame that not many people on YouTube actually cover it. And like I said before, I still like the way Torkoal Smoke is depicted in this game better than the way it's depicted in the newer 3D handheld games. Oh look, it's Chimecho, yay! Chimecho is such an amazing Pokemon, I'm gonna go for Helping Hand for the first time in this challenge. This might not one-shot though, if I remember right, Chimecho has not terrible special defense. As in, it's one of its few stats that's actually okay. Seriously, why'd they give Chimecho a pre-evolution? It needed an evolution, not a pre-evolution. It was just... yeah. Okay. Well, there's another amazing move, Psywave. I've already mentioned it before, but Psywave has a really... not so much hilarious, it's actually pretty harmful, but glitch in Pokemon Red and Blue where it can sometimes be calculated to do negative damage and then it would crash the game. It can also sometimes desync the two games, as in it'll do a different amount of damage on both games, and that'll cause very weird issues with the link cables. It's like a lot of these early trainers. Oh, you can't be that strong! Beats them. Oh wait, you are. So now it's time for Area 23. Getting closer to the inside of the mountain. I'm going to vary things a little bit here. Hopefully I entered the buttons right. But you have a lot of Pokemon weak to water, so I'm still going to be using Suicune, but I'm going to be bringing out Dan Green as well. Again, assuming that I entered the buttons right. I hope I did. Because I just want to switch things up, vary things a little bit, even though I'm pretty much just effortlessly sweeping my way through these first fights. Don't want to be showing you the same combination of Pokemon every single time. And, yeah, let's, guess I'll Fire Blast that, and I suppose I'll Ice Beam the Gligar for the 4 times weakness. Yeah, with the damage reduction, Surf probably wouldn't one-shot it. Now, remembering horror stories of Poison Heal Gliscor, or Gliscor, it's probably Glide, because that comes from the word gliding, but I always called it Gliscor. I used to call Gligar Gligar as well, but Gligar probably sounds cooler. But I think Gliscor sounds cooler than Gliscor. I don't know, it's just a weird thing of mine. And that Cacnea was the exact reason I brought Dan Green to this, because I can now Fire Blast it, and that Swinub is going to get surfed. Speaking of what I used to pronounce things as, I used to call Swinub Swinub, and I used to call, well, Piloswine, I call it Piloswine sometimes, because I think it's like, it is kind of like a big pillow. But this Swinub is gone, however you want to pronounce it. What? No, seriously, this is the first time I've ever seen the expression gooned. Well, you get weirdness points just for that. These are not the kind of Pokemon I expected with an intro quote like that, you'll see. I expected him to use Rock or Fighting types, especially Rock, but he uses Bug types, and a few Grass. That's really weird. But anyway, every single thing on his team is weak to fire, so I know who I'm using here. Always funny when a team is like that. Which is the bigger priority threat? It's more a question of which is less likely to get one-shotted by Psychic, and that's probably Illumise, so I'll target that. Even though I'm not entirely sure if either of them are going to get one-shotted by this. Well, Beautifly got one-shotted. I know that Beautifly has like base 90 special attack, or is it like 95, or is it over? I forget it. It's somewhat decent special attack. I don't know why, but this is just a random tangent, but I always felt that Mothim was kind of a pointless Pokemon. It's just doesn't really set itself apart from the other butterfly Pokemon. And I don't know, like, as much as the various forms of Wormadam aren't that great, they're still at least unique, and they're definitely more interesting than Mothim is, which I just feel is a little bit... I don't know, does anyone else feel that way? I just feel like just Mothim, just even visually, it looks really similar to Beautifly. Then you have... Yeah, I had a feeling I'd miss with that sooner or later. Savor your time planting your roots while you can, for soon you will be destroyed. Probably should have gone with a more accurate move, because knowing that a double target would. But anyway, Fire Blast finishes off. Sunflora's animations in this game make it look like its head is just too heavy for it to hold up. It's kind of like one of Alakazam's Pokemon. Was it Alakazam's Pokedex entry? Which says that it has to use its psychic power to hold up its head, because otherwise its brain is too heavy and its muscles are so weak that it wouldn't be able to hold up its own head otherwise. It was actually kind of a dark Pokedex entry, if I remember right. It seemed to imply something like that its own neck would snap if it wasn't. Anyway. Hashtag blame claim, I guess. Either that or claim is lame. Either way, your name is pretty dumb. Nosepass and Clamperl. Nosepass is an example of a mediocre Gen 3 Pokemon that got a much... Well, I don't know if it was even much needed. it's funny, like, I find, like, Probopass as a Pokemon that, when it's used by in-game trainers, it's sometimes annoying to fight against, but it's never had that much success competitively. Rock Steel is just one of those type combinations that sounds cool in theory, but in practice it just has way too many weaknesses. And I know that a lot of Rock Steel types tend to have really good defenses, but it usually doesn't save them, because being 4 times weak to ground and fighting is really bad. Those are already 2 of the best offensive types in the game, and you see them on just about everything, so it's kind of not something that you... I wonder if... I forget exactly, like, what Clamp does, as far as, like, power and accuracy is concerned, whether it's identical to Whirlpool or not. I know that in later generations, I think Clamp did get buffed to 25 power per hit, of course. But I think it was originally 15. Multi-hit moves usually are... Well, trapping moves are usually 15 power per hit. Well, except for Magma Storm, which Heatran actually... one of the few Pokemon to... Well, apart from Shuckle sometimes with Bind. One of the few Pokemon to actually use trapping moves decently well with the Binding Band. But anyway, this guy, well, he was pretty lame, I guess. Still love how Arios pounds the ground in frustration. I will say here, the dialogue on these trainers, I've said it before, but it's a lot more boring than I remember, so it's just, there's not much that I can actually say about it. It's annoying, it's not much I can really comment on until the battles start getting harder. Oh look, it's an entire normal type team! That's just begging to get kicked in the face. Also, I can't see top hats without thinking of Super Mario Odyssey now. Of course, Togetic is the one thing on her team that isn't weak to fighting, so I'm gonna have to make that a priority target. Guess it's weak to ice, though. So, let's just go ahead and kick the cast form, and that sounds like some kind of weird rap song. Good, they didn't miss, and the cast form was gone before it could try and do any weather shenanigans. Cast form's another one with kind of a sad fading animation. And Vigoroth, which we've probably seen at some point earlier in this challenge. There's just been so much that I kind of forget what we've fought so far. Wish. Yeah, it actually was pointed out to me, well, not so much pointed out as at the same time it was pointed out to me in comments, I'd also looked it up on Bulbapedia, but when I was saying before how Wish, I was thinking that in this gen it healed based on the HP of the user and not the recipient. That was how it got changed to be in later generations. For some reason I could have sworn it was the other way around, but no. So yeah, it wasn't until Gen 5, I think, that Wish Chansey and Wish Vaporeon, or I guess Wish Umbreon or Sylveon sometimes, but it's mainly Chansey and Vaporeon. They got particularly amazing. The moves speedrunners hate. It's always that RNG of you getting quick attack on various trainers. Although Fake Out is admittedly even worse, because not only do they get to move first, you also don't get to attack. Assuming that it's a single battle anyway. Rock Polish, but that's not a TM that's available yet. Little over halfway through this area, let's keep on going. Another guy, I see. Well, at least someone who respects us. I'm gonna go for Suicune and Dan Green once again here. Oh, and it's a glasses man, not guy. And is that Omat or Omar? But anyway. Celio and well, now I wish I led with Kick Face. Because both things here are pretty badly weak to that. I guess it's kind of fitting that we're using Dan Green back in Mount Battle, which I guess is sort of his, well, where we caught him at least. Wouldn't really say it's his home turf. In fact, I have no idea where this Entei is even from. Yeah, I do wish they'd explained a little bit more about why the Cypher admins suddenly have legendary Pokemon, but, I don't know, it just feels like plot was not their main concern when they made the story mode of this game. They just wanted some fun fights, and it does deliver in that regard. Are you gonna get one-shotted? Good. Because you could potentially use Raw. Reminds me of that time that Maryland failed to catch a Laron because it used Raw, and then Because it's a Nuzlocke, so we only got to catch the first encounter. And then he, later on just caught one that he wouldn't allow himself to use, but just out of curiosity, and it turned out to be adamant. You know, I was just thinking, oh hey, Powder Snow is that move that I didn't know could freeze for a while, and I found out the hard way during this playthrough. And then it froze again, obviously. Okay, that's a possibility, but I'll only do that as a last resort. Because, yeah, you get thawed out instantly if you get hit by a fire move, and that includes one used by your partner. It's generally not a strategy that you want to rely on, but in a pinch, sometimes it can work. Really should have led with Kick Face. This, yeah, you're using a lot of things weak to fighting. Ow! I just took half my health on an Entei from a Celio water gun. Okay, what am I gonna do? Let me just quickly check speeds. I'm sure that Suicune is slower than Dangarine, but I just want to make sure. Yes, you are slower. Okay, so you will get your turn in if I do this. But it's not as if you're really going to be that effective. Yeah, I'm just going to let you attempt to thaw out on your own, and I'm going to have Dangarine use... see, this is annoying because Fire Blast, that thing has thick fat, probably, so it's potentially... effectively resistant. It's neutral on its typing, but it could have half damage from thick fat, so... Gonna go for a turn because I don't want to risk Irontown missing, but will this be enough to... Yes, it will. Good. What I was saying was, yeah, there are some moves that can thaw yourself out if you are his covered. I actually really like covered as a move. It's effectively Thief that is normal type, so it gains stab for... Well, I have 10% weaker Fire Blast now. Let's see if 10% weaker is still enough to destroy you. Well, or I could just miss. Stop dragging. I actually really love how freezing works in this game. Like, the Pokemon is just completely just still in its animation. I know that in Stadium they turned into a giant block of ice. Oh, hey, guess that was enough for you to survive. Oh. I might have to switch for the first time here. Because I don't want to risk losing my perfect win streak, so let's go Kick Face, I guess. Both of them have hasty natures, I just realized, so they're both minus defense. But yeah, generally the moves that sort of coat yourself in fire. Oh, you went for... Why did you go for Suicune? That makes no sense. There was a fire type on the field. Oh well. Yeah, generally moves that... You're actually quite fast. Moves that, like, cloak yourself in flames, like, I think Flare Blitz does, but I know that Flame Wheel and I think Sacred Fire cure yourself of freeze if you're frozen. Though, considering fire types, I think you're immune to freezing, although I'm not entirely sure. But if they are, then some of those moves aren't as useful, because they're mainly learned by fire types, which are immune to freezing anyway. Suicune's still frozen. I think that guy did the most damage to me of any fight so far, but it was still a perfect win. A Flash Battle. You know, if you're going to do what I think you're going to do, please don't. And I mean the move Flash, by the way. There are some Pokemon she has that could potentially be spamming Flash, like that Staryu, which does have the Illuminate ability, which I'm pretty sure still has not gained an in-battle effect. I wish it did, but I'm not really sure what kind of effect it would have. I mean, if you made it something like everything targeting you has lowered evasion, has lowered accuracy, that'd actually be very, very, very bad, so I wouldn't really want that, but... That Staryu has pathetic HP. Just kind of noticed that. But I'm not really sure what kind of effect that it could have. Like, immunity to accuracy, or, like, maybe being able to ignore evasion boosts? I don't know, that just seems a little bit like it wouldn't be that useful. Please don't activate static, although now that I've said it, it probably will. I think Fluffy can only have static this jam. Of course! I knew! Now that I've said it, I shouldn't have said it. Another Smeargle. Huh. I'm tempted to leave this Smeargle to its own devices just to see if I can, like, just get it to use some moves. But it'll probably faint to the Psychic, because Smeargle's defenses are terrible. So So I guess we'll never know if it was a 1-hit KO spammer. How? Yeah, Loudred and Exploud are kind of weird Pokemon. Exploud can be a decent mixed attacker, usually in-game, not so much in competitive really, but I mean, I guess Boom Burst is kind of strong. Actually, wait a minute, Scrappy Stab Boom Burst. I do remember using an Exploud like that in one of the battle facilities. Scrappy Choice Specs Boom Burst does hit very, very hard. I actually remember having a lot of fun with that Exploud. Okay, while a Dan Green and Suicune lead probably would have been better here, also Cool Train and Dillet. Really? That's a kind of stupid name. But yeah, while those two might have been a better lead combination, I'm going to go with this one anyway. Actually, leading with a Kick Face was a good choice, because you have two things that are weak to it, and I'm wondering which one I should go for. I have to remind myself again that Wigglytuff does not have Thick Fat. I don't know why I kept thinking that Wigglytuff did have Thick Fat. I suppose the Wigglytuff is the lesser threat here. I can go in for the Fire Blast on that and Shadow Ball with Zazu, even though maybe I'm going to not one-shot the Zazu, we'll see. You know, I don't think I've ever seen... Well, I think Fire Blast has burned, like, once this playthrough, but I don't see it burn that often. Okay, good, I didn't one-shot the Zazu. Zazu's bending animation is still pretty funny. I still prefer this upright standing animation to the way they made it in like, starting with X and Y. It is really annoying how they had to make it so that all of the flying, well, most of the flying types were all constantly flying, just so that they'd be compatible with Sky Battles, even though a lot of them were pretty stupid like that. Especially, I mean, Zazu is one of them. I think Zazu looks a lot better standing upright. Salamence, too, looks better if it's standing on the ground, I think. That's just my personal opinion of it anyway. Also, here's the reason why I brought Dan Green to this fight. But, like, Electros as well, like, even some Pokemon with Levitate, they just don't look right like that. And now that Sky Battles have become obsolete, there's no reason for the Pokemon to still look like that, and yet they still do because they had to port over all the models. So I really hope that if they do, like, if Gen 8 is on the Switch, they do completely redo the models so that they don't have that, because... it's kind of a shame they had to make such a drastic change to animations just for one very minor optional form of battling that only existed for one generation. And wasn't even playable in multiplayer at that. Speaking of which, I and a lot of other people kind of wish that inverse battles were playable in multiplayer. You look like the second area leader in I keep accidentally saying battle mode instead of story mode, but story mode is what I meant. Okay, this guy's got a pretty cool team. Also, Kucha is not that unusual of a name, at least compared to a lot of the other names here. And so, he has a pretty cool theme to his team. Basically, it's all the Johto starters and all the Hoenn starters, all mid-forms. So, the two generations that this game primarily represents. Kinda nice there. I'm guessing there'll be a trainer later on who has all the final forms. But anyway, looks like I picked the perfect lead combination. I decided to also go with my Fire, Water, Grass trio, so I went with these two and Jumpluff, and also Sol, because Sol is generally great in any kind of situation. Unless he gets criticals. Speaking of criticals... yeah, see, I still wish that Quilava and Typhlosion just don't look as cool without the fire. And there's Combusken. Facade. Kind of an odd move for you to be using. It's also a TM that I wish existed in this game, because then Makuhita could make good use of it with Guts. Wow, double Fire Blast miss. Nice one. But that Combusken is probably gone. No, not quite. And there's the move that's designed entirely so you can get past Roxanne. I mean, like, I admit that firefighting, like, from a game design standpoint, is a good type combination for a starter, but did they really have to do it 3 generations in a row? I'm glad they've stopped doing that. I remember when I first saw the leaks, the main reason why I refused to believe they were true unless I saw official confirmation was that I just saw what Incineroar looked like, and well, we didn't know it was called Incineroar then, but I desperately didn't want it to be firefighting. Thankfully, it wasn't. Yeah, it's funny, I kind of thought that Primarina was fake at first too, but Because it didn't really look that much like it followed the, like, theme of Poplio. Because Poplio was more clown-like, and suddenly it's an opera singer. But, it's pretty cool. I still have my weird, unexpected Choice Scarf one, which has actually achieved quite a bit of success, because it does outspeed Garchomp with a Choice Scarf, provided that it's not, the Garchomp itself is not scarfed, and it is guaranteed to one-shot it, provided that it doesn't have a Yachi Berry. Yeah, Ice Beam is always a 1-hit KO on a non-Yachi Berry Garchomp. Moonblast, despite the stab, is only sometimes a 1-hit KO. So I have Ice Beam there for insurance, basically. Yeah, on my first competitive team for every generation, I like to use all three. Well, I only started that trend in Gen 6, but it's because I liked all of the Gen 6 starters. Wish Delphox had a better move pool, though. Anyway, that's the end of Area 3, and then we'll be continuing on to Area 4 next.